Alice said, "Would you tell me, please, which way I ought to go from here?" Cheshire Cat, "That depends a good deal on where you want to go." "I don't much care where. It doesn't matter which way you go." Do you ever feel like that? All the time. Well, we'll just have to work on that. Yeah, very often, it's like, what do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. You want to? Ever had? Yeah, I know. I think we've all had those conversations. My favorite is when the response is, "Whatever you want, dear." It's like, thank you so much. One of the things that I have found is so important in life is the power of your vision and the strength of having a vision. The description I wrote for today was, when times get challenging, it can be tempting to give up on your dream and think, maybe this wasn't meant to be. Okay, yeah, stop there. Anybody ever think maybe this wasn't meant to be? When, little hiccups come? Yeah. But when you have a powerful vision, you make it clear to the universe what it needs to do to support you and gain strength and consciousness to persevere, regardless of any challenges that arise. So that's the whole premise of my talk. So we are not going to be Alice today. Agreed? By the way, how do I darken the screen? You just blank it? How do you blank it? Let me see. That's how you blank it. We'll see if it comes back, right? We're going to be in trouble if it doesn't. Okay, so many of you have heard the biblical scripture that says, "Where there is no prophetic vision, the people will perish." We learned it, the people will perish, but now the new translation is, the people will cast off restraint, but blessed is he who keeps the law. That's the new version. Okay, that's the English Standard Version. And I actually kind of like this version better because it guides us through a process. Basically, it's telling that if you don't have a vision, you're sunk, right? And cast off restraint, what does that mean? Well, think about it. If you don't have any restraint, then you're going to be like Alice. Any destination will do. And it's saying you need to have a vision. So that's like being your own prophet. It's like when I lived in Boston, suburbs, some of them, they didn't have good street signage. As people would give you directions depending on, you remember where that old tire store used to be with the big guy in front of it? I said, no, I just moved here. Just give me the street name. They said, it won't do you any good. But when you get to where the tire place used to be, so I became a prophet. That will be Elm Street. Sometimes I was right. So it's giving yourself, you become your own prophet. Yes, this is what I am going to be. And you claim it. So it's what you want to see in your life. And then keeping the law. Well, we know what that means in unity. There are universal principles that govern our lives. And they're immutable laws. And when you follow them, have you ever noticed when you're in harmony with universal laws? It's like row your boat gently down the stream. Life is but a dream. Yes, because you are in the flow. But if you don't have the restraint to follow those laws, then that's when we get in trouble. At least that's when I get in trouble. And it promises you that when you act in accordance with these laws, you'll be blessed with a happy, fulfilled life. And I loved your song where it was, look in the mirror and I see love. And then, Reverend Barry said, well, what do I see when I look in the mirror? And Susan didn't answer. But that's, it's a decision. What do you want to see? It's a decision if you want to be happy or not. It's a decision if you want to have joy, if you want to be loved, if you want to receive love. It's a decision that we make. And it's a decision to be restrained and to follow those immutable laws. And it happens when you have a vision. Because if you don't, you'll be like Alice. You'll be lost and confused and without any restraint necessary to act for your own course of action. All right, so when you formulate your vision, it acts like a beacon, like a lighthouse. Because it's always going to be there to draw you forth. And if you have a vision, it's something that pulls you. You're either pushed by pain or pulled by your vision. Now, the pushing of the pain will get to the point that you might just consider that there might be something better, where you will start creating that better life for yourself and having the vision and being pulled toward that vision because it is so strong, you can't do anything but achieve it. I think I might have told you my Alaska story. Okay, I'll tell you another one then. I'll tell you my graduate school story. Now they're going to, the ones who didn't hear it, go, we didn't hear that one another time when she's not listening. I decided, after I'd been out of undergraduate school for a few years, and I had no intention of getting a graduate degree. But I got to the point where they told me I couldn't go any further. I worked at Cornell University, which of course is academia of the highest, it's Ivy League. And they said, well, you can't get into management positions because you don't have a master's degree. Now this is back in the women's movement, and I was thinking, women's lib movement. And I was thinking, excuse me, that's discrimination. And to can play this game, I'm just going to get myself a master's degree. Did not dawn on me that Cornell would not admit me. Never dawned on me, right? Because I had an average score coming out of undergraduate school. And I had a degree in English education. But the teaching jobs dried up while I was in school and nobody told me. So I'd become a secretary and I'd worked my way up at Cornell. This time I looked at where would there be jobs when I come out. And I decided on industrial and labor relations. It looked interesting, and I thought it could be fun. So I went into my boss, Irving, in beginning of April. I said, Irving, I just want to tell you, I'll be leaving at the end of August. I'm going to graduate school. He goes, really? I had no idea you had applied. That's wonderful. Congratulations. We'll miss you. I said, well, thank you, but I haven't applied yet. He goes, you haven't applied yet? Now, what do you do when you go? Anybody go to college? I mean, when do you apply for college? A year before you want to go, correct? Aren't those the rules? But I had decided that that was a strong vision. It was drawing me, pulling me toward it. I said, but that's okay. I'm taking the graduate record exams this month. So I'm taking the graduate record exams in the middle of April. And I expect to be in school at Cornell in the fall. And Irving just looked at me and goes, okay. He knew I was going to be with him another year. So I took the GREs. I got the results, I think, the beginning of May. I applied to Cornell, obviously wrote a brilliant application letter, because by mid-May, I had been accepted, and by the first week of June, and I had saved money, by the way, to put myself through school. But by the first week of June, I had a full fellowship. I did everything wrong. But the power of that vision, and by the way, I started school in June because I didn't want to take statistics during the school year. I just wanted to get it out of the way. So I did summer school. So I even left before the September. So that's the power of a vision. I did everything cattywampus backward. But it was mine. And that's why I got in. Because I was that clear. Now, in her book, Christ Enthroned in Man, Cora Fillmore said, all strength is from God. However, its manifestation is according to the mold of thought into which this precious essence is poured. So that is strength of a vision. And think back when you've had the strength of a vision. I know you've all had those instances in your life where there was nothing that was going to stop you. And you could do everything backward, and people could be telling you, no, it's not going to happen. But it did, and it flowed because of the strength of that vision. And all strength is from God. And it falls into a mold of the thought that you hold. So that mold, in this case, is a vision. So imagine that a cement truck comes up to your front door. And the truck driver comes in, he says, okay, I've got the cement. Where do you want me to pour it? This is all yours. It's like, this is the abundance of the universe, and it is here for you. Where do you want it? And I have to dump it now. Now, if you weren't prepared for it, if you didn't have a mold and he just opened up the flue, what was going to happen? That cement would be, it would be everywhere, wouldn't it? It would be a mess. But what if you had prepared a mold? So when that truck came up to your door, filled with cement, filled with all the resources of the universe, and you said, well, here, there's a mold for a sidewalk, and the driveway, and my back patio, because I know you have plenty. So creating that mold, and that mold is your vision. Another great quotation. I'm doing quotations today. It's a good thing the computer worked. So Richard Wallace D. Wattles wrote a book, The Science of Getting Rich. And he said, there is a thinking stuff from which all things are made and which, in its original state, permeates, penetrates, and fills the interspaces of the universe. Okay, thinking stuff. What is that? Thinking stuff. It's a resource. I mean, it's everything that is available to you because it is in an abundant universe. The only limitations on that abundance is our thoughts, our fears, our doubts. I can't, I'm not good enough. I'm too old, I'm too young, I'm not pretty enough. And how many, any stories? Yeah, in your head? Okay. He said, so it's there, and it's filling everything. And a thought in this substance produces the thing that is imaged by the thought. Again, what's your vision? Man can form things in his thought, and by impressing his thought upon formless substance, can cause the thing he thinks about to be created. Do you have any idea how powerful you are? I mean, truly, how powerful. Can you imagine if everyone in this world were to stop right now and start praying for peace and sent peace, the energy of peace and harmony and love to the Ukraine? Do you think they could continue with that war? I mean, you are powerful enough. If all of us came together as a collective consciousness and did that, instead of going to the place of
World War III has started.
Because that's what I'm reading, World War III, and Putin's crazy, and nuclear weapons, and on and on. So we have a choice. Do we go into the angst and the fear with the power of our thoughts, and do we feed into that? Or do we send love? Just stop it and pivot. Say, no, my vision is greater. And hold that, Emily Cady talked about chemicalization in her book, Lessons in Truth, that when we are going to a higher plane, a higher vibration, understanding of these universal principles, things will feel good for a while. And then all the old crap will come up. And isn't that what's happening right now? Because we are going into a higher vibration as a world, and everything that it was dark is fighting, because once there is light, there is no more darkness, right? So what do you impress upon formless substance? And another great, I'm going to the old guys here. We're going back even further. Anybody heard of, wait a minute, excuse me. I read it and it wasn't there. A thought in a substance produces the thing that is imaged by the thought. So what are you thinking? I already covered that. What did I do? Have I done these? No, I haven't yet.
Going backward.
I'm going backward. Okay. That's the whole one. Did I do all of this? Good. I did a copy and paste, and I think I goofed. Okay. Now we're going to Henry David Thoreau. Ever heard of him? Remember, he was the dude who went to Walden Pond, and he built a little cabin, and I saw that little cabin with a single bed and the desk and the 2 chairs, because he did like company. I once thought that he went there and he only lived there and almost, became a hermit. Turns out that, he would go over to the Emersons and he'd have dinner and he'd go into town and he'd play. I think he got arrested once maybe while he was there, because he was protesting something. So he wasn't a hermit. But still, he went there because he wanted to create a grand experiment, because he did not want to die and wonder what living was like, what it would have been like. And so in his final chapter of the book, not him, he wrote, "I learned this, at least, by my experiment, that if one advances confidently in the direction of his dreams and endeavors to live the life which he has imagined, he will meet with a success unexpected in common hours. He will put some things behind, will pass an invisible boundary. New, universal, and more liberal laws will begin to establish themselves around and within him, or the old laws will be expanded and interpreted in his favor in a mere liberal sense, and he will live with the license of a higher order of being." Okay, so that's the whole quotation. So I learned this, at least by my experiment, that if one advances confidently. So that's a great life hack, isn't it? We have hacks for everything now. And he's talking about advancing confidently in the direction of your dreams. Now, you have to have a dream. You have to have a dream to advance confidently. Otherwise, you're going to be Alice with the Cheshire Cat, right? And you endeavor. That's specific action. To life imagined. Again, you have to have the dream. A detailed ideal. And I'm taking another church through a strategic planning process. And we've done the vision, mission, values, and now we're working on the goals. And the last time, a couple months ago, we worked on the big, fat, hairy, audacious goal. And next Sunday, we're going to be working on breaking that down. What does that look like? Right? And for them, and they're a small church, but for them, that big, fat, hairy, audacious goal is to be a leader in the New Thought movement in their area, in their part of the world. And I think they can do it. I think they've got the consciousness for it. But, and meet with success unexplained. So it's almost like you have miracles. It's like I got into graduate school when I shouldn't have, really. But Cornell let me in. I'm Ivy League, can you tell? I grew up in Ithaca, by the way, where it is, so to me it was, it's like that was on the other side of town. I didn't think anything about it, but yes. But it was a big deal. I got in, and it wasn't because of what kind of a university it was because of the clarity of my vision. So success unexplained, in common hours. Now we look at that nowadays, it's like, what does that mean? But basically it means letting go of the old way of thinking. So if you've been thinking the same way you've always thought and want a different result, then you have to change your thinking. Yes? We know this. Do we always do it? I know I don't always. So it's like going beyond normal thinking. And he will put some things behind. So put away, put behind you past ways of thinking and acting. When Jesus was out in the wilderness for the 40 days and Satan came and was tempting, he said, "Get behind me, Satan." It's like, get behind me all those limiting thoughts and beliefs that are holding me back. And that's having the strength. Remember, the power for this month is strength. Having the strength of your vision to carry you through. And you'll pass an invisible boundary. I think about the rockets going out into space. And they had to break through the atmosphere, going up and coming back down. But that was an invisible barrier for us. Have you ever noticed that when you're up to something big and you have that big, fat, hairy, audacious goal up there and you go toward it and it's like, yeah, I think I can, like the little engine. And then you get to the point that, oh crap, who am I to think? All of that trouble at the border, that all the old stuff is coming up to hold you back, that chemicalization. So it's to break through that, past that invisible boundary. And you will find then, because of your belief, because of your confidence, your strength, your passion, that old laws will be expanded and interpreted in your favor in a more liberal sense. Okay, so, and you become that person already living that life. And that, things will be rearranged in your favor. If you didn't know that it was a law to your benefit, well, guess what? They're going to rearrange themselves to come to your aid and make you successful so that you can create the life you would love living. Some people might call that law of attraction. But the thing was, law of attraction, what they left out, anybody read or see The Secret? Where they talk about the power of visualization and it'll come to you. What they left out of it is you really need to take action also. Remember Unity's fifth principle. It's not enough to study and understand and believe these universal laws, but you have to put feet on them. So he has, let me see, in proportion, is that in here? No, I don't care. All right, so the laws of the universe will appear less complex, and solitude will not be solitude, nor poverty, poverty, nor weakness, weakness. So it's just simplify. You know, what is your point of view? How are you viewing things in life? Because remember earlier I said you've got the power to decide if, when you look in the mirror, if you see love, if you see beauty, if you see strength. And at the end he says, if you have built castles in the air, your work need not be lost. That is where they should be. Now put the foundations under them. Okay, so we are looking at the foundation is the strength of your vision. Pure and simple. Do you have a vision for your life? You know, a lot of us are getting a little older here. But I still have a vision. It doesn't matter how old you are. So I see I've gone over. So I'm going to end with simply a saying by Bob Proctor. He said, thoughts become things. If you see it in your mind, you will hold it in your hand. Thoughts become things. If you see it in your mind, you will hold it in your hand. So let's take a few minutes and do some visualization to create something new and wonderful for you, for your loved ones, for your community, for the world. So I invite you. I have to keep going.
One more time. Back.
That's it.
One. Can you hear it?
Oh,
One more.
it's above my pay grade. Is what she does remarkable? I mean, with the whole present, I love it. I want to be you when I grow up. So let's take a moment and close your eyes. Breathing in is always the love and the light of God. And just allow it to fill every cell and tissue of your body. And anywhere that you might be feeling discomfort or dis-ease, release on your exhale. So breathing in the light and love of God, then release anything that is disturbing in your body. And then, one more time, breathing in the strength, the joy, the power of God. And feel that fill every cell and tissue of your body and your thoughts. And if there's anything that is disturbing the harmony and peace in your mind and your emotions, release it. And continuing to breathe deeply. What a joy that is. And the Bible says God created Adam from the earth, or man from the earth, and then breathed life to his nostrils. Just think of every moment that you breathe, you are breathing in God. You're breathing in light and love and life. So the question for you this morning, what would you love? What is your vision for yourself? And would it be all right if it were easy? to bring to mind. What is it that is yearning to be expressed through you? And don't worry if it's practical or possible. Remember, with God, all things are possible. So bring it forward in your mind. And allow that desire, that dream, that goal to grow in your heart. What is speaking to you now? Know that this is yours to do. German philosopher Goethe said, "Whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it." Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. So begin the path to your dream, to your vision. Every step, think as the person already living that life or having achieved that goal. Think of yourself as the person already acting as if you've achieved it. Speak the truth that you've achieved it, and it is yours. Remember, if you see it in your mind, you will hold it in your hand. So as you return to this time and this place, know that you have already achieved your dream. That you have a strength of vision that will carry you forward, no matter any outer circumstance. And it is so. Amen.